Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is Sunday. Not quite the last Sunday in the month, but getting close. How is everybody? I am drinking from my new Roswell cup. Coworker went to Roswell, New Mexico and brought me back a coffee mug. So how was everybody's week? Good, that's good to hear. I'm having some difficulty with Safari right now. So I'm having to log into YouTube on my iPad. So that I can get the comments. Okay, let's see. Bear with me just a moment. My channel. All in things. Okay. Alright, so we've got Q&A, we've got a Scotch of Haul, we've got 2 finishes, y'all. 2. And then we've got whip updates and next week's homework plans. So we've got a lot to go over. So let's just dive right on in. Okay, so the first question comes from Jasmine Ravenclaw. And she asks, which book is my favorite Harry Potter book and why? I've always really loved Prisoner of Azkaban. I think it's kind of the last real book where Harry has a decent amount of hope for the future before everything goes to hell. And we don't really get, after the final battle, we get that awful epilogue that I refuse to accept as being canonical. But, so we don't really get to see his hopes beyond that. So it's the last most hopeful of the books. And I just like the way it plays out. It reads more like a good old-fashioned mystery. That's what I like about it. Trisha, I will be framing Longfellow. It's gonna have to wait till after the move when we've got a little extra cash, though. Cindy McGetty, my week was very good. Thank you for asking. I actually got a lot more Stitch this week than I anticipated that I would. Grace Patane, the ring I was wearing is my Harry Potter ring. It's got the Deathly Hallows on it. And it says Potter Harry. And I wear it on this finger. So I haven't gotten myself totally ready for the day. So normally that's why y'all don't see it very often. Because a lot of times, unless I leave the house on Sundays, I don't do anything more than my wedding ring. Even today, I haven't done that yet. Let's see. Paula Shelgren, the box I got from a lady, she makes them and sells them in our cross-stitch, our needlework store. And she's got a group. If you'll give me a sec, I can try to find what that group was called. It's just FCCCS situation. Is the group name where she sells them. So it's just F as in Frank, then 3 letters C's as in cat, S as in Sam, situation. Okay. And then, let's see. Oh, Stupid. There we go. Jennifer Thompson asks, do you have a recommendation for a classic original movie Glinda cross-stitch? And I'm guessing you're meaning Glinda from The Wizard of Oz. Pedal Pusher has a very lovely Glinda in her bubble. And then Brooks, it's not specifically the movie, but her Glinda is very good, the Brooks books. And then Oliver has a couple of questions, all related to Kreinik versus Rainbow Gallery. Do I prefer Kreinik over Rainbow Gallery Petite Treasure and other Rainbow Gallery threads, or is it based more on the color palette? It's actually more based off the fact that my LNS doesn't really stock Rainbow Gallery, so I was already getting a good collection of Kreinik from there. I really like both of them, and I use them fairly interchangeably. So I don't really have a strong preference one way or the other. Rainbow Gallery, I think, is better for things like Soda Stitch, where I'm just going to use the top stitch, because it's a little more delicate, it's a little finer. But overall, I think both are just fine. I don't really have a preference one way or the other. The only one I don't care for is the DMC Light Effects, which is terrible. 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 So there you go. And sometimes it is a little based on color palette. There's not an ecru in Kreinik, but there is an ecru in Rainbow Gallery. So sometimes that plays into it. But by and large, it's whichever color is the color I need for the project at the time is whichever brand I go for. All right. So the haul this week is my nest egg from Trisha. So we've got Red Plum, Ruby Slipper, Sarsaparilla, Red Grape, Royal Purple, Raspberry Frost, then Sable, Roasted Marshmallow, Rose Garden, and Sage? Yes. So those were, excuse me, pardon my very itchy nose. Those are my Gentle Arts, and then my Kreiniks this week, or this month, we've got 15 HL, which is Chartreuse High Luster, 22, which is Brown, 3202, which is Cat's Eye, and 4203, which is Cattail. So those were my nest egg colors for this month. All right. So that was it in terms of haul. So this week in Magical Stitches, we worked on potions scheduled around the Yule Ball. And the idea was we were using supposed to create a potion that would have whoever we wanted to ask to the Yule Ball only have eyes for us for that evening. And then we were supposed to say whether or not it was successful or not. And there were 4 elements. There were air, water, earth, fire, and wood. The first 4 coordinated to a house. So air coordinated to Hufflepuff yellow, water Ravenclaw blue, earth Slytherin green, fire Gryffindor red, and then wood was just on its own with brown. So we'll go in order. So for my yellow, I did worked on words to live by. And I finished out the yellow in the sun and started a little bit of the yellow in the banner. And I traded out needle minders for one of my ones from Stitchy Box. So there we go. So that was my yellow. And it also worked because air equals, the sun. The sun is in the sky. The sky is air. All right, this next one, we're going to skip around a little bit. So for Earth, which was Slytherin, I did green. And I did 2 of the trees in Search the Sky. Ba-doop. So that's what I worked on for that. Alright, so now we come to our 2 finishes. So I worked on, for Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, I did Sister Suffragette by Summerhouse Stitchworks. The red is for votes, the blue is women, and we have a finish. So I used Colonial Red, I think it's Antique Silver, and Navy for the metallic. And then it's Fire, Navy, Linen, Peoria Purple, no, Purple Haze, and Whiskey from Weeks for the rest of it. So I thoroughly enjoyed stitching this. It turned out really, really pretty. This is on Dapple by Picture This Plus. So there we go. So that's one of the 2 finishes. Now for my other finish, originally I was going to do, because I was trying to do all color, I was going to do brown for Quaker Oz. But then I decided I really wanted instead to finish Longfellow. So there's a tree in it, and there's a wooden door. And we have a finish. So there it is, all nice and done. You can see a good picture of it on my Instagram. I did not do the bottom little Florentine and the Claude Bollet. I tried 3 times to get the Florentine to lay correctly and was not having any luck. And I thought, you know what? Satin style stitches have never been my strong suit to begin with. So I'm just gonna, it looked good without it. So there we go. This is on a one-off piece of fabric from Die Stitch Love that was called Garrett's Time Machine. It's the only piece of it in existence, to my knowledge. It's just a one-off. But it was the perfect fabric for this, and I really, really enjoyed stitching it. I'm sad it's done. I mean, it's beautiful, but I've truly enjoyed every stitch of this. So I miss it already. Shed a tear. So for the Yule Ball, my potion sort of worked. As we all know, Cedric and I were having problems, and then Cedric's daddy wouldn't approve of him taking me to the Yule Ball, and I decided I was done. That was the final straw. Between not being the thing he would miss the most, and that, I was just like, you know what, clearly I deserve better. And I do. So instead I ended up going with George Weasley. He's a fellow Gryffindor, very funny chap, he and his twin. So that's now going to be who my character in Magical Stitches will be dating. That, and we all, as we're about to learn, there was tragedy a-coming. So, this week for Magical Stitches, It's the end of the year. It's the end of Goblet of Fire. And as we know in the third, those of you who've read the book, in the third task, at the end, Cedric and Harry both reach the Triwizard Cup at the same time. It's a port key. It transports them to a graveyard. Cedric is almost immediately murdered. And Harry's forced to help bring Voldemort back from the grave. And restore his body. So all hell breaks loose at this point. And it's at the end of this book, this is the turning point from when it goes from being a delightful, slightly dark series, but still very safe for the younger grades, to not anymore. So this week we've got a couple of different projects that we have to work on. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So first, Harry and Cedric reach the goblet at the same time, stitch 200 stitches on an item that are touching. He who cannot be named attacked, or it comes back at the tournament. That's 200 stitches in gray or black. And Cedric's passing, stitch 100 stitches on a grave or graveyard scene. So as you can probably guess, I'm going to work on Great Cheshire Moon. Ta-da! So I will work on the next part, because it's got things that are touching, there's graveyard, obviously, and there's going to be some black. So that will be the first one out of the first one to work on. Then the next one is Harry's parents decide to appear to help him. So it'll be 200 stitches on a project you need help with, which is going to be, and it's going to be a new start, but it's going to be the map project from Ink Circles. So this is all I can show you at this point, because the first part comes out tomorrow. I haven't even picked the colors yet. I'm just going to pick them as I go. Professor Mad-Eye Moody stitched 200 and his deceit. So we find out that Moody was not who Moody said he was. So it's stitched 200 colors on an ingredient found in a Polyjuice potion. So I'm going to work on Miss Ladybug, because she has hair, and hair is the most common thing used in a Polyjuice potion. And then Harry donates his winnings to the twins, the Weasley twins, so they can open their joke shop. So I'm going to stitch on Emerald City. I'm going to work on it some today, but I'm going to save at least 100 stitches for this. The next part came out, and that would be the Emerald City Gates. So, yeah. Yeah. So I think that's kind of everything for this week. I hope everyone has a great week. If, of course, as always, if you have questions, please drop them down below. And if not, I'll see y'all next week.